Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm Melissa Merrill, and I'm here with Scott Bowser from HouseHappy. Today, we're going to be talking about how to become memorable and gain repeat customers in your home service business. So welcome, Scott. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're the Chief Revenue Officer at HouseHappy, and kind of tell us a little bit about your role there and what you do.
Yeah, great. So yeah, I've been in the real estate and home services space for 1,000 years. I actually started literally. I think I'm a vampire, so I started like 25 years ago, and we developed this business that is helping contractors do great, help the good guys do better, help homeowners have a better experience. And my role is really to sort of evangelize, the organization to all of our partners, including our service pros, our lenders, our real estate agents, insurance companies, and all those folks.
Yeah, I love what you say. We help the good guys do what they do better. It just so resonates with me. I'm a homeowner. Before we jumped on, Scott and I were chatting about, there are some fishy business owners out there, and at one point or another, if you're a homeowner, you've probably unfortunately been burned. And so I just love the mission of HouseHappy, and I love what you guys are doing there. And I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Thanks. Me too.
Okay, so today's agenda, this is what we're going to be chatting about over the next 20 or 30 minutes. So the cost of acquiring customers is high. So you listening to this as a service pro, as an on-demand home service business owner, how are you retaining the current customers that you already have? How are you capturing their needs at the right time and becoming proactive in booking them? So we're going to get into all of that. Then we're also going to talk about how in this day and age, we have the tools to be able to track a home's health by digitally storing a home's comprehensive info. So my question to you is, are you adopting the newest technologies in your business? Then from there, we're going to get into the fact that home service pros can now get leads, plus turn those leads into jobs with just one click. So truly making your work easier. All right, Scott. So when we talk about customer acquisition and we talk about how much it costs to acquire new customers, I know there's a lot here that you have knowledge about that, I know that you can just bring the value here, and really thinking about these service pros becoming that memorable service provider and gaining the repeat customers. I loved your example of, back in the day with the yellow pages, with the big giant phone book. You'd go in there with a red pen or a highlighter and kind of circle the pro that helped you last on your water heater or your dryer vent or whatever it was. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah. So, I mean, the reality of it is most of us don't truly understand what our customer acquisition cost is. That includes everything from if you do place an ad, if you do door hangers, if you, heck, even the bids that you go out and spend money and time on bidding that you don't get, those all factor into what your customer acquisition cost is. And then, how long you keep them, how often they repeat, what your lifetime value of that customer is super important to really understand what you're doing and whether it's economically feasible or viable, even makes sense to go do it. So that's why it takes you, it's so much more valuable to retain a customer once you have them, because that just frankly reduces your customer acquisition cost over time. And so if you use that, the story of, like the phone book thing, for me, it was somebody placed an ad for a plumbing job in the phone book years ago, and I liked them and I circled it in the phone book. And then Shazam, the new phone book came, and I got rid of that phone book, and now I couldn't figure out who it was that I used that plumber again. So that was wasted money from them, because they got one job out of me because I couldn't remember who they were, and they didn't do a good job of re-engaging me, whether it be through postcards or door hangers or a phone call or whatever. They just didn't do it. And so that was one of the genesis ideas behind this company.
Yeah. And honestly, loyal customers that consistently book your business are almost always more valuable than those one-time buyers. Because sure, I could hire a plumber to do a small job. Hey, I recently, personal story, I have a condo, and it's an older unit, and we replaced all the faucets. Now, could I have hired a handyman, or could I have hired a general contractor, to do that? No, or sure, but I hired a plumber. And that plumber that came here and did such an amazing job installing 4 new faucets within my condo, I want to rebook them. But have I heard from them again? Have I been added to any sort of email marketing? Have I received text message marketing? Did I get any sort of like follow-up thank you card or postcard with like, hey, will you leave us a review? No. So, you know, 3, 6, 9 months from now, when I do have maybe a catastrophic event with, you know, a water heater or a sink or a toilet flooding or, you know, whatever it is, I don't know who I'm going to call because I've already forgotten about that business owner. So it truly is more expensive to try to acquire new customers.
Well, and it's crazy because it's such a massive number with such a little incremental change, right? So the reality of it is, you with a 5% increase in retained customers, you'd literally increase your business, depending on where you are in your cycle of your business, 25 to 95% on the bottom line. And it's literally because you're not spending money to acquire them and you're not chasing them down to get them as that first time customer. And it's allowing you to stay in your earning side of your business, as opposed to in that trough where you're looking for business. And frankly, if you're busy, you're not looking for new business, you're not building your pipeline. And then there'll be a time where that catches up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll talk about, you know, sort of the feast and famine business cycles here in a minute. But what I also wanted to mention here is, you know, when you're capturing a homeowner's needs at the right time, like when you actually have a report that says, okay, the chimney needs to be swept in a year and the dryer vents need to be cleaned in 6 months and the water heater needs to be inspected in 2 years, or whatever, you know, whatever these timelines are. When you're that business owner that actually has access to that information, that's gold for you to rebook those customers, because then you can get proactive, send them the text, give them a call, stop by their house with a, you know, door hanger or whatever it is. So tell us a little bit more about that and how kind of HouseHappy helps with that.
For sure. I mean, if you think about literally everything else that's in your life, right? With the home side of the world is so behind the times. I mean, you know, for years we've gotten reminders that it's time to change the oil in your car, or to get your teeth cleaned, or to visit your doctor for a checkup, or whatever it is. We don't do that for our homes. And what HouseHappy's created is really what we call like a Carfax for your house, where we store all the data about what was done, what needs to be done again. We have all the DNA about what's there, how many windows, the linear feet of gutters, the appliance model numbers, when they were installed, all that stuff. And that information grows over time. And we use that data to then engage that homeowner and be proactive about getting their things scheduled again, so that we capture them before they search on their own, which is where you lose customers. So if you're not being proactive, that means you're losing customers, because they will find another resource. And so we try to utilize technology and data to make sure that service provider is always going back to them. And we like to call it our care team, right? So if you're using our platform, we're building a care team for that home. And we like to use the same people over and over and over again, because that's what the customer has the best experience with.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It is like the Carfax for your home, where you have that full mock-up, that full write-up. And I think you guys have like, what is it, like 300 different pulse points on the home, the garage door, the furnace, you know, that you can actually access the information for.
Paint colors even. Yeah.
So cool. So cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Next time it comes time to paint, I have no idea what color this is. I'm going to have to take the little chip into Home Depot and hope that they can actually match it correctly, which most of the time they can't. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how HouseHappy makes the homeowner's life easier. You know, here at Workiz, we're all about making work easier for the contractors and for the service pros. But for HouseHappy, how do you guys store this information digitally and kind of make that homeowner journey an easier process?
Yeah. So the reality of it is this. So our grandparents knew a lot about taking care of their homes. Our parents knew more than us. I know some. My kids know nothing. I mean, they literally know nothing about taking care of their house. So what we've done is we've digitized the data around the home, and then utilize that as a way to engage the homeowner, so that we can send a regular service reminder that's branded for the sponsor. So whether it's the lender, or in this case, the contractor who created it for their customer, keep them top of mind and remind them, say, hey, Mary, it's time to change the filter in your HVAC unit. Here's the one you need. You can press this button to ship to your house, or press this option, and your HVAC pro will come out and change it for you and tune up your HVAC unit. And here's what you need to do. And it's push button, right? It's making that easier, because frankly, I mean, that's what people want now. They want simplicity. But we layer in this concierge level of experience, because the reality of it is, depending on what the trade is. Some people are totally comfortable with, having their gutters cleaned, for example, is just push the button, clean my gutters. It's going to be, $212, done, make it happen. The other might be that they're going to remodel their bath, or they've got, some consultation that needs to be done. And so that involves the concierge to give them some advice, to connect them with their pro, and then step out of the way. And then obviously if there's anything that we can help with in the process, but we want to make that experience the way they want it, whether it be text, chat, phone call, whatever, we provide that experience to that homeowner, and it's all for the benefit of whoever gave them our account, right? So if it's the pro, the plumber, electrician, the landscaper, whatever, who gave them our account, we're giving them a boost in brand recognition by doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just makes so much sense, I think, where the homeowner's life becomes much easier because, like, for example, I'm a millennial that's a homeowner. And like you said, I know nothing about homeownership. And so if I were to be able to have access to, instead of those jumbled up invoices and paper receipts of, okay, well, who did this work and when did it happen? And, trying to track all of that on my own, I don't have time to do that, nor do I really care to do that, right? Until something breaks and I'm like, oh, you know what, let's go get it fixed, But on the other side of that is you really have built this amazing contractor network where, these folks are vetted out, they are professionals, they are good at what they do. Like you said, it helps with the customer experience because these folks are able to rebook these service pros again and again, build those relationships that foster that, more of that sense of community, like, okay, they've got my back, I can give them a call at any time. I just love that. So with this too, I know there's reminders, right? You mentioned with oil changes, we'll get a call from the local auto repair shop and say, hey, Scott, it's time for your oil change. Or you'll get a call from your dentist. Hey, Scott, it's time for your teeth cleaning, or x-rays or whatever it is. So how does that work with sending the leads to the contractors when those services are due?
So there's a few ways that we do it. So, obviously if the contractor has provided this to their customer, they will always be in there as the service provider for that homeowner. In the instance that it's, created by a lender or by a bank or by another pro that's non-competitive, we will put it into our system, scope the work, deliver the lead to them that basically said, here's what needs to be done, here's the time frame that they're looking to get it done in, and then the pro can decide whether or not they want to accept it, to bid on it, or just to pass on it. And then if they accept it, we basically connect the dots, and the homeowner says, yeah, I want to talk to Steve, and Steve and the homeowner now talk together, and the work gets done. When the job is completed, we store that information in the account, and then we record Steve as the preferred provider for that trade for that homeowner for as long as they're in their home. And frankly, even beyond that, because these Trax accounts or HouseHappy accounts are transferable. And so what will happen, even when the house is sold, all the service pros who are on that history will then be transferred to the new owner. So it allows them to retain a customer, actually to grow a customer that they never even talked to, because that pro knows that house. So it's just really, really interesting. You think of it almost like a little bit of a Monopoly game where you're kind of getting, popped into these different homes all over the town.
Yeah, well, and that kind of brings us to our next topic on, feast and famine cycles in business are no fun. And, if you know a house's DNA, I love that you refer to it as a DNA, and you've been there and you've done that, and you know that, okay, well, that sprinkler head specifically doesn't want to shoot in that direction, or there's been issues with that window screen for years because of ABC reason, or, it, and the customer, the home. And we all know as business owners that feast and famine cycles are no fun. So with this being said, you as a service pro listening to this today, how are you supplementing your sales pipeline during down seasons or phases of slower business? Depending what you do, maybe your work is more seasonal, you're in HVAC, or you're in pest control, or you're in, these various industries that see more business at different times of the year. So what have you seen, Scott, with, HouseHappy being able to refer these leads over to these service pros in these times?
Yeah, so we do a few things. One is obviously, like I'll use HVAC. HVAC, in depending on where you are, can have massive swings, right? So you're busy with the beginning of spring or beginning of summer, and you're busy at the beginning of winter. And so what we'll do is we'll work with our pros to go, how can we level out those spikes, right? So they're not worried about having the right staffing, and they can keep their people busy year round. So we'll do promotions, active engagements that will be pushed out locally within their service network to our whole group in that market. And we have currently about 300,000 homeowners across the US, and we expect that to grow to about 6 million by the end of 2022 based on our new partners. And so what we'll do is we'll go, like, in April or in February, we'll say, hey, get your HVAC units serviced between now and whenever they can, based on the Freon issues. But the service provider tells us what they want to accomplish, and we push it out within our closed network to grow their business at the times that they want to grow it. So I think it's really important that we become a partner of theirs, of the contractors, because frankly, most people don't have a marketing team. Most people don't have people who can just, engage their customer base on a regular basis without, paying a fortune for it. And with us, it's like $99 a month. So you can have a full marketing team for that kind of money, and you just can't beat it. So that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing that we can use to boost that or to stabilize that business. The other side of it is, frankly, we all have times where there's job cancellations, or there's something that creates a gap in their schedule, which is just, frankly, it's lost revenue, and especially if you don't have time to rebook it. So our platform becomes a really nice way to fill those gaps, whether it be with just our customer base or within their own customer base, that we can do something for them to their existing customer base because they've all created these HouseHappy accounts for them.
Yeah. And I think that's key too. The example of like the guy that came and installed the 4 faucets in my home, like, would I have loved to receive some sort of text or leave behind, or, something to remind me, hey, now you mentioned that you might want to also replace the shower heads, or the shower faucets, or whatever. There's so much money that's left on the table in those situations, and it's really business 101. It's upselling and being able to not just upsell, but really take care of the customer and take care of their needs. I gave that guy a buying trigger, right, where I said, hey, well, I'm also thinking about this, I'm also thinking about, and that would have been prime opportunity for that plumbing company to really get a higher dollar value out of me as the customer, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy. You think about, even if you think of like Home Depot, for example, if you went to Home Depot and you bought 400 square feet of cedar decking material, wouldn't you think in a year that they would be communicating out to that customer that, hey, it's time to reseal your deck, and they would sell more deck sealer, right? So you can do the same thing with our platform, that it's time to reseal your deck, and I'll be happy to come out and do it for you, because chances are when you go out and seal the deck, you're going to find, oh, I was thinking about maybe building a fence or whatever, especially if you're a handyman. That type of stuff is just so relevant to growth in your business.
Yeah. Well, and another thing on the whole note of, leaving money on the table, I know we talked a little bit about, the phone book example and who do they call, and if a homeowner is in need of a service right away, especially in the on-demand home service industry, missed calls are always going to equal missed money, right? So say that, you had that yellow page ad circled, or you had that Google business page, bookmarked or whatever in this day and age, and you're calling the pro, and nobody's answering. Well, what are you going to do? You are in a situation where you're locked out of your car, or your stove just broke, or your washer dryer just went out, or, whatever happened. And so now you're going to just go down that list on Google and call every other pro to try to get somebody to answer the phone. So with Workiz and how we kind of work with HouseHappy is you can really fill more jobs on your schedule and book those jobs with one click, be able to track those calls, be able to track those texts, never miss a call because you have the call forwarding and the call flows. So, Scott, if you're the HVAC guy and I'm calling and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have an emergency. It's a 110-degree day. It's summertime. I need someone out here ASAP. Well, if you're on a job, because you probably are because it's summertime, then somebody else might answer the phone on your team, and then I'm still taken care of. I can still get booked into the system and nothing goes missed anymore. So yeah, super cool. to have the relationship that we have now with HouseHappy, and we're so excited to partner with you guys and just have the open communication, between the two platforms, and just make sure that homeowners are being taken care of, contractors are being taken care of, and you're not going through those feast and famine cycles and missing business and leaving business on the table.
Yeah, sure, for sure. I mean, we're super excited to be working with you guys. It's a very relevant. I mean, we like I said in the beginning, we want to help the good guys do better, and everything that we do, we add to our platform really to be accretive in value to help these people succeed. And as a quick aside, I mean, I'm a longtime entrepreneur, and I've been lucky enough to build a couple of really successful businesses, a couple of Inc. 500 companies, and it really comes from being, and I hate this word, but it becomes from being a servant leader, right? So being something that's additive in value, that is not self-serving, and by nature it becomes self-beneficial. And so your program to me is 100% aligned with that mission of helping provide the right tools to help convert more jobs, to stay busier, and then ours to retain that customer for life. I think it's a fantastic partnership.
Yeah, and so cool just to see how we're both growing, and and how our contractors are growing, and how our home service pros are growing and scaling. And with tools like this, I always go back to, we are in the digital age. How are you as the service pro adopting these new technologies? Why are you making it harder on yourself than it needs to be? Why are you going through the feast and famine business cycles? Why are you leaving money on the table? Why are you still running your business on pen and paper and not able to, have all of these really cool automations that are at your disposal? So it's really time to get with the times. And Scott actually has an awesome deal for any new Workiz users. He's offering 50% off of the Workiz platform for 3 months. You can grab his special gift at workiz.com/househappy. And he's also offering those that are already Workiz users 15% off of HouseHappy monthly by going to partner.househappy.com/service-pros, and you can use code Workiz15 to get that 15% off. Scott, any final thoughts before we close it out today?
I think that's it. I think we covered it. I mean, like I said, I'm super excited that we're able to do this with you guys. We want to be a great partner. We do things like, if you're in our platform on the premier side of our business, we're helping you engage your customers for as long as they're in their homes. We can talk about this. So we do something super interesting in that we give each of your customers $25 to use towards something that you don't do. And it sounds funny, but what it does is it creates this closed network of like-minded service providers. So if you're a plumber, the electrician in your community who's also providing this can give your customer $25 or a customer $25 to try your services. So we're effectively buying new business for you guys. And we know that it comes back in spades for us. But it's a really different, innovative, just kind of flipping the whole thing upside down, because we believe that eventually we want our people, our pros that we work with, to never have to pay for another lead and to never have to buy another ad, and to be able to grow their businesses organically within their existing customer base and through referrals by providing excellent service. And then we'll do the rest of it, right? You take care of your service side, we'll take care of the rest on your marketing and advertising and customer communication. So I think that's probably all that I'll throw up on you guys about our program right now.
Yeah, well, and it's just such a cool community lens, I think, of looking at all of this. I always say community over competition, right? Like, yes, there are, hundreds of, probably thousands, at least here in San Diego, California, of plumbers or of HVAC guys or of electricians or of pest control pros. And I always believe in community over competition. And exactly like you said, well, what happens if, this guy can't service this client because they really are booked solid? You have that network of other pros where you can, start referring other business out, really foster that sense of community. And I just love that you guys offer the $25 to each homeowner to try to book, another service that they need. It really makes the ecosystem all work together.
Yeah. And that's on us. That doesn't come out of any jobs that the service pro does. It's something that we do to help them acquire a customer. And then if the pro wants to promote something, like we have a couple of service pros that do crazy good customer acquisition deals, and we promote them locally. And we've got one, I think we gave them 120 new customers last month. So
Wow.
that's what they wanted. So we did it, and it was very successful. So we're happy to do that, whatever your trade is.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Scott, here. It's
Absolutely.
been great to connect with you. And thanks for teaching our audience a little bit about HouseHappy and how you guys are working with Workiz.
Yeah, happy to have the opportunity. So I appreciate it very much.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Tune in for our next webinar. We'll be having more and more coming soon. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel as well. Thanks so much.